When comfy softness beats, meet fragrant scent beats.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Ango Show. We are live. It is Monday, September 23rd, 2024. I just need confirmation that everything is working. Can you guys confirm with me that the stream is working, the audio is working? I have literally been, for the last 2 hours, troubleshooting my camera and everything. And quite honestly, guys, it's been a very stressful day. I was trying to get a video out earlier. Couldn't get that done, so it's just been somewhat of a weird morning, but nonetheless, we're going to keep things moving. It looks like the chat is saying everything is good, which makes me super excited. Appreciate that. Throw some W's in the chat. Appreciate that. It's been a couple days since we went live. I was out traveling, and now I'm back, and I noticed today, before we start talking about this other stuff, just like a quick little channel update, I noticed today with the technical issues I was having. You guys know me, whenever I have technical issues, I work fast. So I sit there and I try to get it fixed. Right now, the fix that I have is temporary. And quite honestly, I don't like temporary fixes. So today, after the stream, I don't know how long the stream will go, but after the stream, I'm going to get a video out there. And I'm going to make a run to Best Buy because I'm not waiting 2, 3, 4 days for shipping. So what I'm going to do is revamp the setup, get everything working perfectly and flawlessly. And I feel like within the coming days, I'm probably going to change a whole bunch of stuff about the background too. So hopefully it all works out pretty well. With that being said, though, I appreciate all of you guys in the chat dropping those W's. Seriously, it means a lot. With that being said, there's a lot to discuss. There was a big episode of SmackDown, and that's obviously a very good thing because, well, WWE, as of late, has been on fire. SmackDown's now on the USA Network. There was something that happened on SmackDown that I will probably absolutely hate, and I cannot wait to talk about that, so we will talk about that momentarily, because there's one thing on SmackDown that is just, like, mind-boggling to me, and I don't know why it's happening, so obviously we'll get to that. But I want to say shout out to all of you guys being here. It genuinely means a lot, spending your day with me. And hopefully you guys had a great weekend. I know I did. Just a quick reminder, if you guys want to support the stream, $5 super chats, 5.00, right? You drop a super chat, $5 or more, it's going to interrupt the stream, and I'm going to be forced to answer your question. So text to speech is activated on $5 or more. Also, if you guys do drop a super chat of any kind, you're always going to get priority. I'm always going to answer your questions. Super chats are a huge way of supporting the channel. This month, you guys have done an incredible job supporting the channel, which actually makes it easier when there is technical issues or when we're trying to make some changes to the setup or whatever it may be. The money goes back into the channel and the growth of the channel and the business that we have created here. So if you guys want to drop a super chat or if you guys become a member, it is greatly appreciated, but it is definitely not forced. The last reminder is you can always like the stream or share the screen, or sometimes you just want to help a brother out and you want to be a little bit extra. Feel free to buy some merchandise, which honestly, I'm waiting for my package to come in. It should be here any day now. But I just want to say this. I've seen people get their shirts and their hoodies and their hats, and everything's looking good. The quality's looking good. If you guys want to support, that's another way to do it. You're definitely not forced to doing it, but if you want to, you absolutely can. Now, you saw the title of the stream, okay? You guys saw the title. AEW says no to WWE signing. We will be talking about that because that is a very interesting story that is floating around. AEW might be playing hardball right now, and quite frankly, I don't think it is a good idea for AEW to do so. So we are going to discuss that. I will also say SmackDown had one of the coolest segments in a very long time. It just seems like with Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes being together, they have this chemistry. There is this aura surrounding them. And I'm sure by now you may have already heard from other podcasters and content creators. But guys, here's the cool thing. Okay, here's the cool thing. My opinion is going to be slightly different. Just slightly. I think a lot of people, we all use the term cinema. And that's cool. I think that's cool. I use the term cinema. But what Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns did on SmackDown is more than cinema. And I hope it starts a new trend for the WWE. So obviously I want to talk about that. Let's talk about SmackDown first. Let's get a little bit of that out of the way. There was a couple great things on SmackDown. One of the biggest notes that I had about SmackDown was how impressed I am with Andrade and his WWE run. I feel like Andrade being in AEW was just not good, man. It was not good. And I'm not trying to dig at AEW. I'm not trying to be this like controversial figure online when it comes to AEW and how they mismanage talent. But Andrade is one of those guys who, for right now, the important thing is WWE just having him on TV and making him look good, right? Like that's the most important thing here. And Andrade, despite coming up short against LA Knight, I feel like he's just looked great, honestly. And I want to give WWE props. Like he's looked good. And I wasn't sure what they were going to do with him in the beginning. We saw what they did with him. And we saw, obviously, the series of matches between him and Carmelo Hayes. But I actually like the idea of Andrade and Melo being in the mix here because these are two guys who necessarily shouldn't be rushed for a title, but they should be a prominent figure on the show. And I feel like the way WWE has kind of constructed the storytelling around that has been really special. Andrade losing to LA Knight, it makes sense, right? Like LA Knight really hasn't been doing too much with the US title since winning the belt from Logan Paul. But I really did love the fact that these guys go out there and like they're starting to make they're starting to make that US title picture a little bit more exciting. I don't know what WWE is going to do after Andrade, right? So this is where I get a little bit concerned, but I feel like LA Knight, Carmelo Hayes, Andrade, all being in the mix is a great thing. I want Triple H, especially when they go to a third hour. I want WWE to be equal playing field. Like the mid card for the for the Intercontinental Championship belt on Raw, it is super sick, right? I think when you look at SmackDown, there's a little bit more work to be done. So I want to give WWE props for what they're doing, but it's not going to be easy. They got to get more people to beef up that mid card on SmackDown. There's definitely ways to do that. I really loved the backstage segment as well that we had with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade, because they have that history there, right? We saw Andrade beat Carmelo. We've seen Carmelo beat Andrade. Like, we've seen this, and Carmelo Hayes being a heel, he's kind of a dickhead, right? I like how they did that on SmackDown with him, telling him, get the fries in the bag or whatever. Basically just insulting him, telling him he's not really good enough. Which is rich, because Carmelo Hayes did not go on to face LA Knight. So I like it. It keeps Carmelo Hayes in the mix. It keeps him on TV. And this is what WWE is doing differently than AEW. And we're going to talk a little bit about some AEW versus WWE stuff later, because trust me, there's some big stuff. But I'm telling you guys, putting Carmelo Hayes in that backstage segment does a lot of good for Carmelo Hayes. I really like that. I put that in my notes. Some people did mention like the post-match, like shake hands, fist bump. People thought that was like really weird. I don't know who tweeted it out, man. It's going to piss me off. I read a tweet over the weekend, which is like, LA Knight is a babyface, but he really only cares about himself, so it doesn't really matter. Which I thought that's true. That was very true. The other thing that I liked about the SmackDown show is the continuity. We got continuity with Nia Jax and Tiffany Stratton, Bayley, and Naomi. The only thing is that there was a botch on the pin. I don't know if you guys noticed it. I don't know if people have noticed this. But there was a botched pin. It is not... I don't know. It was like a weird finish. So I thought that was interesting. But I like the dynamic that Nia Jax and Bayley and Naomi and Tiffany Stratton have had. I like the fact a lot of people complained about Naomi coming back to WWE from TNA, and a lot of people felt like, hey, maybe they haven't done Naomi wonders. But just like Andrade and Carmelo Hayes, it's important to just keep people on TV in a prominent position. Not everybody needs to be in the championship picture, but if you're not going to be in the championship picture, you need to be doing something. And that's what it's all about. I feel like wrestling is a momentum-based program, and the only way to gain momentum is by putting people slowly on TV. And the best example of this, and the reason why I have so much faith in Triple H and the way that he does this, and I'm going to say it like it is, people aren't going to like this, but Bronson Reed was the perfect example of this. If you looked at Bronson Reed on Raw since he came back, if you look at what he's been doing, or Chelsea Green is another example. Chelsea Green and Bronson Reed get signed. People were very critical of them and very critical of WWE not pushing them immediately. But if you look at it from that perspective of having them on TV constantly doing something, eventually that momentum stacks up and it adds up to a point where you could capitalize. So I like the fact that when I see Naomi here, it's like, cool, this is great. I mean, technically, Naomi, this is... You got all four women here. You got a little bit of a dynamic. The botched ending was kind of weird, but WWE is telling a storyline here anyway, so you can kind of include the botch. I want to see what their ultimate plan is, but it sounds like we're going to get a triple threat match, right? If you look at it from Naomi and Bayley both pinning Nia Jax, I'm assuming we're getting a triple threat match at Bad Blood, which could be really fun, especially when you consider, Tiffany Stratton having women's Money in the Bank. So I did like that. The thing that I didn't really, I know people are going to be kind of weird about this. Okay, so let's talk about the Bloodline stuff. Not Cody and Roman, but let's talk about Street Profits. Let's talk about Kevin Owens. Let's talk about Jacob Fatu, Tamatonga, Tongaloa, right? I like these guys a lot. A lot. Like, I like these guys a lot. This match ends in a no contest, okay? The match is fine. I like GOD on SmackDown. I like the Street Profits. It's not being talked about enough, but the Street Profits, like, they're there, but I don't feel like anything big is happening with them. Yes, now they're starting to get involved with the bloodline. But when we saw Bobby Lashley and the Street Profits and, everybody come together, the way that I look at it is like, ever since then, they've kind of been in limbo. So now we're looking at SmackDown. We got a tag team division with DIY, GOD, Street Profits. Those are probably the three most prominent names. Obviously, you have Pretty Deadly. What I like about this is that Kevin Owens is finding himself in the main event slot without necessarily being in the title picture, okay? So then this whole thing ends in a no contest. Jacob Fatu, everybody looks great. Street Profits look great. Baby faces look great. Jacob Fatu gets a very big tag. He comes in, he does his offense. I love it. Some people don't like the no contest. Me personally, I have no problem because it pushes the story further. So now we got a whole bunch of people fighting and brawling. Cody Rhodes comes out with a chair, and he helps clear out the bloodline. Kevin Owens picks up the chair, and the camera angle suggests that Kevin Owens is going to turn heel on Cody Rhodes. Everybody thought Kevin Owens would turn heel immediately on Cody Rhodes at the last PLE. That didn't obviously happen. So the reason why I'm excited about this is because this is another slow burn. Now remember, I had predicted this a while ago. Long before Kevin Owens was even with Cody Rhodes doing this stuff, the one thing I suggested was that there is going to be a situation where Kevin Owens is going to get so tired of dealing with the bloodline shit that it's eventually going to have him turn heel. And I feel like we're going to constantly see these teases because all you've noticed, right? Kevin Owens has a history in WWE, in professional wrestling, of turning on his best friends. And it looks like he's going to stab Cody in the back, but he doesn't. And it was funny, the way they captured it, Cody turns his head, it just looks like it's going to happen. It doesn't end up happening. Which, props to WWE, they did a really good job of making it look like it was going to happen, and then Cody turns and acknowledges it, because Cody's not a dumbass. Cody's a babyface. He's smart. Again, WWE should not be having their babyfaces look dumb all the time. Cody Rhodes doesn't look dumb here. He turns his head. It's almost like he's kind of confused. There's some good mannerisms. But Kevin Owens doesn't obviously do the heel turn. But months and months ago, I predicted, hey, I think, especially if you see Sami Zayn, and this is the reality, if you see Sami Zayn getting in the mix with the bloodline, Kevin Owens is going full throttle heel. And I think WWE is going to wait for that. I do. I think WWE will wait for that. And I think when they do eventually have Kevin Owens turn heel, it's going to be balls to the wall crazy. I don't think he's going to be a heel like how people expect, where he's going to start teaming up with other heels. I think this is going to be the prize fighter, Kevin Owens. So for all of you people who think that just maybe Kevin Owens will be joining AEW, don't lose sleep over it, because I definitely don't think that is happening. He's in a good spot with WWE. He's tired of the bloodline. And so the way I'm looking at it is very simple. He will eventually turn heel. And I think WrestleMania 41, man, call me crazy, but I think we're going to end up getting Sami Zayn versus Kevin Owens. And all of it is going to be due to the fact, realistically, it's going to be due to the fact that the bloodline for the last 3 years has been tormenting Kevin Owens. And unfortunately, that's going to lead to the biggest heel turn. And you guys know Triple H knows how to book Kevin Owens as a heel, so that's going to be really exciting. I like this. There was the Jacob Fatu thing backstage, which was nice, with Tommaso Ciampa. So I like that. What did I not like about SmackDown? Ladies and gentlemen? Giovanni Vinci. What the hell is happening here? And I'm being so honest, I just want to know what WWE's plan is. Giovanni Vinci gets repackaged, okay? This guy gets repackaged. basically back to his NXT 2.0 gimmick. And I'm sitting here and I'm watching SmackDown and I see him lose in 3 seconds. Okay, maybe there's something that we can expect from that. I don't know. Like maybe something good could come from it. But this past week on SmackDown, WWE decides to have Giovanni Vinci lose to Apollo Crews. Now, it obviously wasn't in 3 seconds. But I'm losing my mind at the thought of WWE doing this. Now, listen, I like Apollo Crews. Apollo Crews is a guy that should be involved in the United States title picture. He should. We were talking earlier on the stream about Andrade and Carmelo and LA Knight doing some really good TV. And so I think you need to beef up the mid-card a little bit. And Apollo Crews has always had, he had a really cool run as Intercontinental Champion. But I'm looking at Apollo Crews as where, this guy hasn't been given too much opportunity to work in the WWE. We're starting to see it. Okay? And I have no problem with Apollo Crews picking up wins on TV. But I have a problem with Apollo Crews picking up wins against Giovanni Vinci, who we saw was getting repackaged. Now listen, this match wasn't a couple seconds long. It was a little bit longer. But it was an out-of-nowhere win where Giovanni Vinci gets rolled up and Crews gets another win. So, perception is reality. Out of all the things that I praise in WWE storytelling, and trust me, I understand you gotta be patient. I understand that you gotta do some things to, wait and see how things play out. I get that. I 100% get that. But at the same time, what they are doing right now will not benefit Giovanni Vinci in the long haul. Whatever plan it is for WWE to have Giovanni Vinci on TV losing like this, whatever the plan is, it's not going to work. And I don't understand how in today's WWE, they're going to have somebody repackaged, lose, and lose again. And then on top of that, how they are going to struggle building the US title picture. Because they took Giovanni Vinci as part of Imperium. They took him out of the group. I don't know. Maybe you guys know. I don't know. I don't know how that came to fruition. I don't know how WWE decided to do that. I don't know why they did or how they come to the conclusion that Giovanni Vinci should not be an Imperium. Because at least with Imperium, especially when you look at this tag team division, Ludwig Kaiser doesn't need to be a singles guy just yet. By the way, you might bring in the Lucha Bros. You might be bringing in Motor City Machine Guns. Imperium would have been a great tag team champion at a time where the tag team division isn't a focus. It's not like Ludwig Kaiser is winning the IC title anytime soon. So I see Giovanni Vinci on SmackDown and they went away from this and I'm thinking, okay, they broke him off of Imperium. Now they got him on SmackDown losing quick matches to Apollo Crews. What is this doing for anybody? I don't know. I am really struggling to understand this. And I'm telling you guys right now, SmackDown is a very strong episode, but the roster isn't as beefy as Raw. So when SmackDown moves to 3 hours, they gotta do something to beef up that show. So what are they gonna do? Are they gonna have Giovanni Vinci lose matches in 15 minutes? Instead of 4? I am dumbfounded on this booking. I know. I'm always the most patient guy in the internet wrestling community. I get told this all the time. But at some point, you have to take a look and say, what are you doing here? If Apollo Crews, Apollo Crews was doing some tag team stuff with Baron Corbin, but if Apollo Crews was constantly on SmackDown, constantly winning matches all the time, it would be a little bit different. on the flip side of that, you have to wonder, is WWE doing this to help build up Apollo Crews? And if that is the case, let's just say that is the case, I want to know why they're doing it at the expense of a repackaged wrestler. I'm sorry, but perception is reality. I can't sit here every day talking about wrestling and talking about how AEW does some dumbass booking and then not call this out. This is just undoubtedly one of the dumbest booking decisions WWE has made. I don't know what this leads to, but this is not something that makes me intrigued going forward. It does not. I see Andrade and Carmelo Hayes putting on great matches. Giovanni Vinci could work great matches. We've seen him have great matches. LA Knight doesn't have a huge list of possible opponents. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking in my head, what can they do to build up that mid-card? Then you see Giovanni Vinci gets the vignettes and he's got the new look. And that's what they've left us with. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm dumbfounded. You know, I'm taking a look at the chat. Nick says, how many times does each person have to fight each other? That's okay. Have people fight each other. Do rematches. There's nothing wrong with doing rematches. But if you're going to have people wrestle, do it the way they did it with Carmelo Hayes and Andrade. A series of matches. Apollo Crews is beating up Giovanni Vinci so quick that there is nothing about this that makes me feel like they got more coming for Giovanni Vinci. And I'm sorry, but it's bad booking. Apparently, WWE has had a plan here the entire time for Giovanni Vinci. Wow, I cannot wait to see what that looks like. I cannot wait to see what that looks like. And mark my words, I will go live, I will make a video, and I will apologize to WWE. But the minute they took Giovanni Vinci outside of WWE Raw and moved him to SmackDown, and they split up Imperium, and by the way, just remember, they never even followed up with him getting his ass beat by Ludwig. Never followed up with it. He just got written off and got repackaged. That already tells me WWE doesn't care. But the minute that happened, that told me WWE not only doesn't give a shit about Giovanni Vinci, but they're going to make him a lower card wrestler, and then eventually they're going to release him. And I swear to God, I will be very disappointed in that, because he's a very talented individual. He was good in NXT, went up to Raw, and he was good on Raw with Imperium. There was no reason to do any of it. And so if that's the way it goes, shame on WWE. And if WWE makes him a WWE champion in 3 months, God bless them. I don't understand the vision right now. But we'll see what happens. Crazy. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. We just got a... Wow. My apologies. Is that Tantalizing Tony? It is. Tantalizing Tony dropping a $4.99 super chat. He says, real, my bro. Shout out to Tantalizing Tony. A real one in the community. Appreciate it. Thank you for the $4.99. Guys, if you have any more super chats, you guys want me to read your questions or comments, drop them in the super chat. Definitely appreciate it. And shout out to Tantalizing Tony. Man, it's been a minute since I've seen Tantalizing Tony. Love it. I gotta be on social media more. I gotta be on Twitter more, man. But yo, we gotta talk. Listen, we gotta talk about Roman Reigns and Cody Rhodes. The coolest shit WWE has ever produced. The coolest shit WWE has ever produced. Football stadium, face-to-face cinematic experience. Holy shit. WWE has figured it out. it comes out that this masterpiece of a cinematic experience was all due to Jeremy Borash, Paul Heyman, and apparently Triple H. They all worked on that together. As well as Rob Fee. Rob Fee is the one who does stuff with the Wyatt Six. Tremendous segment. Shout out to Miles Jubert Roberson being a member for 16 months. The history they brought up and started. The history they brought up and stated. Very epic. I agree. This is what I want to see from professional wrestling. This shouldn't be a shocker to you guys if you watch me. But I like these off the grid storylines, video packages, promos. I love the content where they're not inside of a ring. They're not always backstage. They're not always in a locker room. It was actually one of the coolest things about NXT 2.0. I loved NXT 2.0 in the sense that you got Tony D'Angelo doing shit in the parking lot or at a restaurant. This is one of those things, man. Going to the football field, the music, the cinematic shots, Cody and Roman talking. Roman wants Cody's belt, but at the same time, too, Roman Reigns understands that they both have a problem in the bloodline. This is so different from the way WWE has ever presented a segment or a promo. It's interesting to see WWE go this route. In a weird way, it kind of made me think of Lucha Underground. In a weird way, it made me think of a freaking sports movie. So I don't know, I was watching that, and I am just so glad to see that Cody and Roman are in the mix. These two guys, the way they talk to each other and interact with each other, make me feel like this is going to be incredibly unpredictable for Bad Blood. 100%. I feel like it is unpredictable. I am so geeked about this. I am so geeked about this match. And if I could tell you guys the honest to God truth, I'm going to be so real. Cody Rhodes and Roman Reigns, I know people don't want to see a third match. I do. I want it, man. And I want it fast. I have a very strong feeling that WWE is pushing Cody and The Rock and Roman and The Rock. I feel like they're pushing. I think they got some plans here, bro. I think WWE is prolonging this. Mark my words. I think The Rock is too busy in Hollywood. I think this guy, he's going to be involved, obviously, because he's part of TKO and he's part of the board. But mark my words. Oh, mark my words, ladies and gentlemen. That third match with Cody and Roman might be the thing that actually prompts The Rock to return. And the Bloodline taking them both. I don't know. But I want to see it. That segment was so badass. I want to see it. We got 2 super chats. $1.99 from Luke Newman. He says, what do you think of WWE signing Motor City Machine Guns? I have talked about this plenty on the channel. So Luke, make sure you're not missing any streams or any content between this channel and more Ango. I am super excited about Motor City Machine Guns coming to WWE. The word going around town is that Motor City Machine Guns will have a career in WWE, and then they will have an offering working for WWE NXT as coaches after the fact, which is beautiful. Love the signing. Those 2 guys are guys that I have met. Very, very, very good, positive, nice gentlemen, veterans of the business, finally making it to the WWE. They chose WWE over AEW. I want to see them have a nice run as a tag team on the main roster eventually. But WWE's got to get focused on tag team wrestling. So, love the signing, but I don't love what WWE is doing with tag team wrestling just yet. I'm hoping that changes. Luke, thank you for the $1.99. Tantalizing Tony dropped to $4.99 again, and he says, come be a guest on my show sometime. You already know. DM me on Twitter, brother. DM me on Twitter, and I'll be happy to be a guest on your show. Anytime. We just got to figure out the schedule. Definitely possible. Definitely possible. You just got to let me know when and where, buddy. You just got to let me know when, and I'll be there. So,
the Tantalizing Tag Team Wrestling Podcast super chatted $9.99. Cody/Roman Night 1 WrestleMania.
Okay.
Phil Weemat super chatted $9.99. When Roman said that he was coming back for the title, it made me believe that the third match between them might be a bit sooner than we all thought. 3 back-to-back-to-back WrestleMania main events?
Let's talk about it. Two really good super chats that actually kind of align with each other. So, Tantalizing Tony and Phil both dropping $9.99s. Let's discuss Cody versus Roman Night 1 at WrestleMania. That could be the move. That could be the move. Now, let's talk about that. Is it too much for Roman Reigns to be main eventing WrestleMania 3 years in a row against Cody? Now, I will say this. You're going to have your people in the IWC who absolutely hate this. And that's fine. Let them hate it. Let them be negative. But are you telling me, after watching that segment on SmackDown with Cody and Roman, are you guys telling me, is there anybody out there that's going to tell me that shouldn't be another WrestleMania main event? Now listen. The presentation, the video packages, go all out with the cinematic experience. Yes, 1000%, I'm all for it. But I feel like Roman versus Cody for the title would actually be a little bit better if they saved it for Royal Rumble. And at that moment at the Royal Rumble, that's when I would have The Rock have the Bloodline take out both of them. Set up the match between Rock and Roman for WrestleMania 41. Let Cody go up against Randy Orton. Let's not... I don't know. I'm torn, guys. I'm torn. I want the match to happen. And a match of that caliber, it makes sense. But the only way this third match could be different from their first two really comes down to because of Jacob Fatu, G.O.D., and The Rock. So, could it happen? Could Triple H do that? Yeah. If they're, especially, listen, night 1, do you really want Cody and Roman working double duty at WrestleMania? No. But who knows? WWE is trying to sell 2 nights of tickets. So, you literally never know how that's going to go down. That is something to keep in mind. 3 back-to-back WrestleMania main events. Back-to-back-to-back. I mean, what? Roman Reigns has main evented like 1 million of them in the last 10 years. So, that is something to obviously keep in mind. Phil, Tony, thank you both for your super chats. I appreciate it, guys. Miles dropped a $2 super chat. Overall, made them both look very strong. I felt it. It did. Cody and Roman look like the 2 biggest stars in professional wrestling. I like some of the stuff that's happening in AEW and TNA and New Japan. There's nothing that none of these other companies have produced something like that make it look that big time. So, I'm not saying you can't like something more than that, but I'm just saying presentation-wise, there's not another storyline in professional wrestling that appears bigger than that. Thank you, Miles, for the super chat. $1.99 from Luke Newman. AEW doesn't want Matt Riddle. Will he go back to WWE? He says never say never. WWE right now probably ain't going to bring him back. Tony Khan sounds like he doesn't even like Matt Riddle, so I don't know. But I will say this. I will say this. If Matt Riddle goes back to WWE, He's going to the mid card. I don't think WWE will ever trust him to go to the top of the card. He's got to work his way back, man. He's got to work his way back. So, we'll see. The last thing I want to talk about on our stream today, guys, was some very interesting stuff surrounding the Lucha Bros. Because, quite frankly, this is becoming one of the most interesting stories in professional wrestling. We know that there was a report last week that the Lucha Bros were signing with the WWE or have signed with the WWE. Then it comes out that they apparently didn't sign yet because of the contract situation. So somebody's lying, somebody's bullshitting, some sources are wrong. Do I think Lucha Bros are going to WWE? Yes. 1000%. And I know I don't really care for Dave Meltzer and Brian Alvarez, but if there's one thing, Dave Meltzer will always be top of the, he's always going to know what's happening backstage to AEW because those people there love him. His WWE shit probably isn't the best, most reliable stuff. But I feel like when Dave Meltzer talks about AEW, we know him and TK are buddy-buddy. We know Tony Khan writes the show basically to get Dave Meltzer's approval. Dave comes out, and he's talking about Rey Fenix, and he was told that Rey Fenix has not been told that he's being released. So nobody actually knows whether or not Rey Fenix will have added time to his contract, and nobody knows if Tony Khan will let him out of his contract to go to WWE. And listen, long story short, as Dave Meltzer talks about this, Dave Meltzer likes talking about a whole bunch of stuff, but he's basically talking about how WWE wouldn't do this for AEW, and that obviously begs the question, why should AEW do this for WWE? AEW shouldn't do this for WWE. AEW should strictly do this for AEW. If it's a well-known thing that AEW talent don't want to be there, they should not be held there. This is not Vince McMahon. This is Tony Khan. The alternative to WWE sounded like an actual alternative. But if you think about it, if Tony Khan is adding contract time for people who missed out, if Tony Khan is not releasing talent who don't want to be there, that to me reminds me of Vince McMahon. And then it kind of got me thinking about this thing that people had said before, where Tony Khan is kind of like everything Vince McMahon is, which is everything he said he wouldn't be. And the reality is this. Rey Fenix and Pentagon have not been on AEW TV. AEW's tag team division isn't really that exciting right now. And I don't know, I just remember a lot of fake outrage when Mustafa Ali asked for his WWE release. He never got it, and the amount of shit that WWE got. And I remember saying at that time, WWE shouldn't hold talent hostage. Let them go. Let people go. If they don't want to be there, let them go. Both of these companies have roster members that aren't even being used. Both of these companies are literally in situations where you have people fighting to get TV time. And so what are you going to do? Add contract time to Rey Fenix and then just not let him wrestle, not let him be on TV? Because the purpose of that is to stop them from getting momentum before they go to WWE. Like Ricky Starks is apparently in contract. Miro is still reportedly on contract. So AEW basically not letting people leave. I'm telling you guys right now, if I was a talent, I wouldn't want to be there. I wouldn't want to be there. That's the one thing I hate about WWE, and it's the one thing I hate about AEW. In the last few years, you haven't heard that many stories of talent being unhappy with WWE. The internet will tell you differently. If you go on Twitter, people will tell you, oh, Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo are not happy in WWE. They're going to be all elite. Then it comes out they've re-signed for multi-years. Right? So the reality is this. This is the reality. This is what you guys all need to remember as we sit here and talk about this. WWE and AEW, if they have talent that don't want to be there, while it does help the other company to sign them, it helps your company even more because it shows that your talent that you genuinely look out for their interests. Now it's hard because I'm a business owner. Sometimes being a business owner, you can't do what is best for the people. But I also don't agree with that. It's not 100% true. Like Tony Khan let William Regal out. William Regal then went to WWE. That was beautiful. That was nice of Tony Khan. So the thing is, as a business person, it's very difficult to show favoritism. I'm going to do this for William Regal. I'm not going to do this for Miro. Weird, man. It's weird. And AEW should be better than this. AEW should be better than this. Luke Newman drops a $1.99 super chat. He says, is Pentagon a free agent then and Rey Fenix is not? That's what the word going around is. The word going around is that Rey Fenix might have added time to his contract, which would prevent AEW, or excuse me, it would prevent WWE from signing him. The problem with that, Penta could go to WWE, do some single stuff until Phoenix comes in. That's completely fine. The problem with this, though, and this is also not being discussed, but this is on the flip side. If Rey Fenix and Penta signed with WWE like those reports suggested, and WWE was working on merchandise, then how did we get to the point where WWE was in communication with these guys if they're not technically out of contract? So sources from both sides are saying shit that just simply don't make sense. Do I think they are going to WWE? Yes. I do. When does it happen? I don't know. But there are people in these companies that don't like their job and they don't want to be there and they want to go to another company. These wrestling companies need to cut that shit out, bro. They need to cut that shit out. It's time for them to stop that shit. Unless you genuinely have plans to use them, cut them. If you can sit in a room with them and talk about making things happen together and being on the same page and being on the same wavelength, because that's what's best for business, then sure. But we hear all the time on the internet wrestling community, you heard rumors of Malachi Black wanting out, Tony Khan wasn't having it. What the hell has he done? See what I mean? Miro hasn't been used. Wardlow hasn't been used. Ricky Starks hasn't been used. And nobody knows why people aren't being used. They don't know if it's injuries, personal issues, if they're disgruntled. Nobody knows anything. Everybody's left in the dark. You see somebody on TV, the next minute they're not on TV. The reality is, if we know somebody doesn't want to be there, whoever it may be, don't force them there. You're going to add time to somebody's contract. Cool, Tony Khan, you're getting that TV deal. That's great. You got the money. You can pay for it. Is it really worth paying the money to keep Rey Fenix away from WWE? Save that money. Invest that money in your product. Do something. I don't know. But this is ridiculous, bro. It's ridiculous. Super ridiculous. Ladies and gentlemen, we're cutting it short at 50 minutes. As I explained in the beginning of today's stream, tons of technical difficulties. Before I was able to go live, I was able to fix it. I had a recorded video, so I'm going to get that uploaded with other news, which is why we're not talking more news topics on this show on today's episode. But definitely stay tuned. There's some big news stories. You guys aren't going to want to miss it. It's coming up on youtube.com @Ango. Tomorrow, everything should be perfect. I feel like I got everything fixed. I'm going to run out to the store and grab some stuff to have permanent fixes. But I appreciate you guys all here. And yeah, man. This is the Ango Show. Y'all rock. And I'll see you guys next time.